And I want to say that I really agree with this because recently this initiative has launched in EU and you can access it on the site stopkillinggames.com. Very much sense on that domain, just like friend.com, but whatever. And basically, it's a petition for the EU, basically talking about trying to like drive action against people killing games, and this kind of started. This also a bit started from the what happened recently with The Crew, because you might have heard about The Crew, like a very big racing open world car game, or you might have even more heard about The Crew 2, or The Crew Motorfest, which is the new one. But at least the first one, which is only called The Crew, as you can see right here, has recently just been dumped, and Ubisoft just made it unplayable. So they didn't just like leave the updates, but instead they made it so that you can't play the game. And they had, of course, reasons for this, like like with the different car brands, they probably had different contracts, and for the music too, and a bunch of things. But still, I mean, it's a bit weird that people buy the game and then they just one day can't play it. I mean, Ubisoft should probably keep up with that. And what do you think about my stereo? Tell me in the comments down below, by the way. I just had this set up like this, so I thought I might just use it. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. So basically, they thought that it was a good idea to make a petition to basically tell the EU that what has happened, and just try them to at least get a respond to this. And for them to respond to this, I think it's like 1 million signs needed, and they have now done, as you can see, 27% of these, 271,000. But I'm pretty sure this will be in quite a long time. This will keep going. So I don't really think it's stressful, but I really want to encourage you guys. I will leave the link in the description too, to sign this petition, and I could kind of take you guys through how this works. So of course it only works if you live in one of these countries in the EU. So I live in Sweden, so I'm going to continue there. And then they basically are going to take you to the EU site, which is here. So not as good UI, I gotta say, but at least it's an official website of the European Union. As you can see, it's .eu, Europa, whatever. And then you select your country, basically. And you confirm these. You first, of course, read these. And then you fill in the form or use the EID of your country. I'm going to use the EID because it's very simple in my country. You do the form, you just certify that the information is correct and that you have not already entered all of this information, because you might have, and that's not what it's meant to do, because you can't just like do it a bunch of times. Also, it works like this, that in different countries in the EU, they can have, they need to reach a certain threshold for those votes to count, kinda, I have understood it as. And as you can see, these blue ones have not yet reached the threshold, and the gray ones are just not included, and there could also be yellow ones, but that probably won't exist. So that's if a country hasn't supported. And you will see that already Sweden, Finland, and Poland have reached their thresholds. Sweden only by 104%, and Finland by 118, and Poland by 113. So because these have kind of low, because I mean, not a lot of people live in Sweden. That's why the threshold is only at 14,800 and 5,000. But I think it will still count if you do it again in a country which has already reached this threshold, and nevertheless, it will show like it's that you support it still. Like they will know that there are even more people who actually care about this. Keep in mind too that it isn't required for the EU to actually do something about this. They just need to address it, and that will probably mean that they will like think about it, and maybe like it said on this site before, they talked about that France has pretty strong consumer protection laws, and that's why they think that if the EU actually thinks about this and looks it through, they might think it's actually reasonable to make it a law to actually that you have to leave the games in a functional state. So yeah, then you will just support, and then you will get the thank you. You could keep this as a reference, so just download that. But otherwise, you're pretty much done. Also, if you, because I know a bunch of you don't live in the EU, or in none of those countries at least, so then you can also take action in other ways. So here you can select other countries here, as for example United States, which I know most of you guys are living in. And here you can do these different things. So some of these are priority low, but this is actually medium high, and that's basically contacting, and this you can also do from a bunch of other places, contacting the DGCCRF. And this you can only do if you actually had the game, the crew, and then you just need to contact Ubisoft, and there are a bunch of steps here on the website to actually then contact the DGCCRF about you contacting Ubisoft and a bunch of that type of stuff. But yeah, it's really interesting. You can also sign up for their newsletter here, but I don't want to drag this video out too long. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bit of another video, but I hope I will be back from today. So yeah, thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully.